A quiet afternoon in a garden is a study in low-stakes tasks. It's an environment where the most pressing concern is a stubborn weed or a dry patch of soil. But for an elderly person, the biological margin for error is razor thin. A slight miscalculation in balance doesn't just result in a bruise, it carries the threat of life-altering injury. As the man stands, his heel catches on the curve of a garden hose. He lurches, loses his center of gravity, and falls backward with no way to break the descent. Gravity completes its work in less than 3 seconds, erasing the safety of a sunny afternoon before the person on the ground even realizes they've fallen. The impact is a shock to the system. The heavy thud of the landing, a sudden flare of pain, and then a heavy physical immobilization. Often, even when a witness is present, the human response is slow. A neighbor or family member might run over, but they are frequently paralyzed by the same panic as the victim, unsure of whether to move them or how to call for help. The exact moment a human body is most in need of a lifeline is often the exact moment it loses the physical agency to reach for one. At the 0-3 mark, the moment of impact, the human story pauses and the digital one begins. The focus shifts to the hardware strapped to the man's wrist. 2 internal components are responsible for identifying this crisis: a 3-axis accelerometer and a gyroscope. The accelerometer registers rhythmic motion, then records a violent G-force spike as the wrist hits the turf. Simultaneously, the gyroscope tracks a rapid spatial shift from upright to horizontal. Both inputs are required. When the spike and tilt happen together, the watch confirms an accident. Within milliseconds, the raw kinetic energy of the fall is converted into a high-priority digital alert. Time resumes. The watch responds with aggressive haptic vibrations and a glowing red fall-detected screen. A 15-second countdown timer appears. This is an override window, designed to allow a user who is conscious and unhurt to cancel the alert before it escalates. If the screen remains untouched, the algorithm follows its fail-safe protocol. It assumes the user is either unconscious or physically unable to interact with the device. In the garden, the scene is emotional and chaotic. On the wrist, the machine remains methodical, ticking toward 0 without a pulse of hesitation. When the timer expires without human intervention, a critical threshold is crossed. The system assumes total responsibility for the rescue, initiating a sequence of actions that the victim cannot perform for themselves. At 006, the watch bypasses the user and dials emergency services directly. It communicates the location and the nature of the emergency without a single word from the person on the ground. A calm, automated voice announces that help has been summoned. This provides an immediate psychological anchor, cutting through the panic of the bystander. The watch then displays a real-time arrival estimate. Knowing an ambulance is exactly 12 minutes away changes the nature of the wait. This single data point shifts the environment from a state of emergency into a state of managed rescue. Smartwatches have evolved into autonomous Nhamlo guardians, operating independently of the phones they once relied on. For those living alone, the greatest threat to independence is an unwitnessed injury that leads to hours or days without discovery. By automating the request for help, these devices directly address the primary risk factor for aging in place. The technology protects human independence by knowing exactly when to seize control from the human. The modern smartwatch stands as an active, tireless guardian, ensuring that even when a person falls and cannot speak, their cry for help is always heard.